Can everyone please rise for the flag salute? Oh, I'll call the meeting to order at 7:06. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Route of egress: in the event of an emergency, all people may exit right or left from this room and proceed to an exit door. All doors will open from the inside. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Keldon Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published in the North Jersey Herald News, the board's official newspaper, on January 11th, 2023 and June 25th, 2023. Notices of this meeting indicating date, time, and place were posted publicly on the door of the main entrance to the school and filed with the clerk in the municipality of Haledon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi,
Here.
Mr. Coletta,
Present.
Mr. Guzman, Mr. Martinez,
Here.
Mr. Matzo,
Here.
Mr. Webb,
Here.
Mr. Zentanovic, and Mrs. Issa.
Here.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a board member presentation for Mr. Zlatanovic. He is not here, and I do have some comments, but I think I'm going to save those for my president's report. So we'll move now to the board candidate interviews. So do we have
We have 3 candidates and 1 is on.
Okay, okay. So hello, everyone. We will be interviewing 3 candidates today for the Open Board of Education seat. We will interview 1 candidate at a time, and board members will ask all 3 candidates the same questions. This is an established best practice for interviewing, is cited by the New Jersey School Boards Association, and is consistent with New Jersey state laws prohibiting denial of equal access or discrimination. Asking all candidates the same interview questions allows for fair and consistent interviewing practices and equal opportunity for all candidates. Board members, ask your question and keep in mind that any question that you ask one candidate, you should ask each candidate. Do not ask a follow-up question to your original question, as that creates a situation in which a question is being asked of one candidate and not the others. If you believe a candidate has not answered your question fully or to your satisfaction, you should bring that up during our discussion in executive session. For the interview for Ms. Spiridigliazzi, you may also ask a question from the original list, because I believe we asked all of those questions to the first 2 candidates. So you would ask that in addition to any questions that you ask the other 2 candidates. Okay, so are we going to, at the last, add the other candidates step out?
Sure.
So we'll start with Ms. Serna, if that's okay, Mr. Ramadan, if you wouldn't mind stepping out. Yeah. And if you could put Ms. Spiridigliazzi.
Back in the room.
Yeah. But you can only ask these questions. You only because you know.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, use. Then, the question, grass, the question that goes to this hobby because. To be like, yeah.
So. If you ask the question, they answer correctly, the same question. Yeah.
It's a printer.
Okay,
Oh,
okay, sure. But for this one, this one has to be a new question, pardon. Okay. Okay.
You want me to make you approve?
yeah, like.
Fine.
Well, since we're starting with Ms. Serna, it's okay
It's okay.
because we're not gonna be asking those questions. We already asked those questions.
The young ladies in the room.
Okay, yes, okay, so let's start with the board members who are here. We can start with Mr. Abbasi.
Hi, Roxanne. Thank you again for coming. And thank you for your interest in the position. So I just want to get a better understanding of your motivation for your interest in the position at this time. So in the last 15 months, this is the third out-of-cycle appointment for the Board of Ed position. And in the elections last year, there were 5 spots for election with only 4 candidates on the ballot. So with all those opportunities that were available in the past 15 months, why are you putting in for this position now? What has changed or motivated you to consider this position now, this time?
Okay, so last year, I'm talking about last year, right? Between the 2 years.
Right.
So with last year, I can tell you right off the bat that I didn't show to most of the things because of COVID. I was very a homebody, masking up, and I was just home most of the time. I did attend through Zoom a couple of meetings, especially when the mask mandate was lifted, and Mr. Walker said what he would go here as well. So that one I did attend. I did attend a couple of meetings that I was concerned about. But now it's a little bit different now that I'm able to come out a little bit more and interact with everybody and not be such a homebody. So therefore, I feel like since I'm here anyway, I might as well run for the board.
Thank you.
Mr. Matsko?
Thank you again. I didn't do my homework, so let me figure this one out, a good one that,
If you don't want this, you don't have to, you
Okay.
can, but
can I come back to me?
sure, absolutely. Okay, so let's go to the members who are attending virtually. I'm just gonna go start from the top row. Let's see. Okay, I see first, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Martinez. Mr. Martinez, are you there? If you could unmute and ask your question.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Okay, what do you believe are the major strengths of our district?
I'm sorry.
You asked that last time.
Mr. Martinez, this is a question that's already on, that we already asked Ms. Serna. Do you have another question?
I do. Are you aware of the time, training, commitments, and ethics laws disclosures required for the school board membership?
I was informed that there were training that were offered by the state, so that I'm willing to accept and pay because I want to be an effective board member.
Okay, I just want to reiterate that we shouldn't be asking Ms. Serna or Mr. Ramadan any of the questions that we asked at the last interview, because we already asked them those questions. So please ask a new question. You can ask these questions of our new candidate, Ms. Spiridigliazzi, but please ask new questions to the other 2 candidates. Okay.
Sure. Would you like me to ask another question, or are we good?
We'll come back, okay? If you have another
it.
question, you can come back. Mr. Coletta, are you going to ask, I don't know if you wanted to ask a question?
No, I'm good. I just want to thank all the candidates who put in for it. I withdrew my question earlier in the interest of expediting this process. We spoke with the 2 candidates last time. We have 1 new candidate this time. I'm satisfied with the answers they gave last time, and we'll listen to what the new candidate has to say as well. So I'm good as far as questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, okay, now next is Mr. Webb.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Ms. Serna, thank you so much for coming back. I just want to ask you, why did you decide to come back after the last board meeting?
Why did I decide to come back? I thought that was
Yeah.
recommended by the president.
Well, I mean, it's your choice. I can't make you come back.
I'm sorry, but I didn't know that I had to resubmit the interest letter. I thought you told me to come back on the 19th to do this all over again, right?
Of course.
Of course, I was gonna do it all over again. You guys didn't make a decision.
I guess my
No, that's-
question,
That's,
I guess I was just wanting to know how serious you are about this position. I mean, the fact that you sat through the process last month and you are still here, that could have discouraged some people not to come back. So I was just curious as to, your thought process of coming back the second month.
To me, that's not discouraging at all. I know you guys have to make a wise decision, and I'm here to let you know that I've been here every month since September, so nothing's gonna stop me now.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Mr. Webb, please make sure that you ask Mr. Ramadan that same two-part question, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, so now I will ask, I actually have two questions, but I'll ask the first one. And then if anybody else has, I don't know if Mr. Moss wants to ask, and then I'll ask my second question. So my first question is, this is the document. If you were appointed as a member of the Haledon Board of Education, what would be your priority topic? Explain why, and please name only one.
my priority is for the children, and always to think about the children first. I always want that to be the first thing that we are thinking about, regardless of maybe our differences. But our children come first, and they benefit from us being a good team together. What's the second part?
Okay, actually, I think I missed Mr. Guzman. I'm sorry, Mr. Guzman. That was my first question. I'll ask my second question after, okay? Mr. Guzman, do you have a question for Ms. Serna? I'm not sure. Can you hear us, Mr. Guzman?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Okay, great. Do you have a question for Ms. Serna?
Negative.
Okay, okay, thank you. I think that's everybody, right? Okay, so Mr. Matsuo, do you have a question?
Yes. Came up with one. All right, so now, Ms. Serna, and again, thank you very much for taking the time out to be here. And I know you're always on Zoom with us, so you're part of us already. So now, if elected or win the seat now, with all the changes that we're coming into and all the new development that we're doing within the district, how would you see yourself fit into those decision-making of the new developing district?
Are you talking about the expansion?
The expansions, with the new programs that we have in place, and we're looking for more programs to put in place. How do you see your interaction with?
Well, I think that if it benefits the children and it benefits the community and making everybody come together, I think that would be a great benefit, and I think that we would work well together.
Thank you.
Okay.
Your second question.
Yep. So can you hear? Okay, I'm gonna ask my second question. So please describe a situation in which you had to work as part of a team to overcome a challenge and bring about a successful outcome. So what was the challenge? What did you and the others do? And what was the outcome?
Are you only talking about work?
It could be anything.
Okay, so I don't know if everybody knows this, but my older son is from a different father. So when I had my two daughters, it was a big gap. He was 13, now they're 6 and 7. So therefore, bringing in my husband and working together as a family, even though he has a father, that was a dynamic that you had to grow into. And that's something that a lot of people and children have to deal with in this school. So I can relate to those people with two families or two mommies or two daddies. So that's something that we had to communicate about. We had to make a goal line for him and really accomplish what we wanted to accomplish as raising him together. So it worked out very well. My son is doing very well. 21.
Beautiful. Well, that's good to hear. And thank you for your answer. Okay, unless anybody else has a burning question, I think we're going to conclude Ms. Cerna's interview and do Mr. Ramadan's interview. Is that good?
Mr. Martinez, you say
Oh,
he's good.
Mr. Martinez, did you have one other question?
I don't, I'm good.
Okay, then. All right, well, thank you so much, Ms. Cerna. We're gonna interview Mr. Ramadan now and we'll get.
Practice it another couple times.
Oh, I did that.
Can somebody? Okay, thank you.
By the time we do this next meeting, that would be well practiced.
First,
Okay, so we're going to, I guess we'll go in the same order that we went for the first. So we're gonna start with Mr. Abbasi.
So, just one, thank you for coming again. We appreciate it. Before I ask my question, I just wanted to offer quickly a personal apology on my behalf, not on behalf of the board or anyone else. But just from me, as I thought you were asked a couple of unfair questions last meeting, and I was complicit and just stayed quiet. One, personally, I had only been to 2 board meetings prior to being appointed. So whether you were at 7 or 1, in my opinion, doesn't ultimately define the qualifications or the interest of the position. 2, you did lose in the previous election, but I think it should be noted that you ran in a harder race in a more dynamic district where there's 3 towns voting against an opponent that's basically been in the seat for 50 years. You could have taken an easier path and run unopposed in the Haledon Board of Ed, as there was 5 positions and only 4 applicants. So with that out of the question, with that out of the way, here's my question. I want to get a better understanding of your motivation for your interest in the position at this time. So in the last 15 months, this is the 3rd out of cycle appointment for the Board of Ed position here. I was one of the 3. And in the elections last year, there was 5 spots, and only 4 candidates on the ballot. So with all these opportunities that were available in the past 15 months, why are you putting in for this position now? What has changed or motivated you to consider the position at this time?
For the motivation that I have, first, I'm a resident of Haledon. I do have 2 grandkids that soon they'll be going into pre-K. So I do care about the my kids, about children, and being a resident, I do invest in their progress and benefit. So part of being a resident here, I want to be a part of this committee so I can contribute to the curriculum and see the functions of the school.
Thank you.
You want to go ahead, Mr. Motsko?
Yes, please. And thank you, Mr. Ramadan, for coming in. If you were to get elected, and with all the new expansions and the new district development, how do you see your interaction with the board with these new developments that we're doing? Meaning with the programs that we have in place, with the expansion of getting new classrooms and, and it's been a lot just to get that done, So how do you see your interaction with the board to kind of?
Well, I would look forward to work with everybody. Of course, we work as a cohesive team, trying to accomplish the initiatives and hopefully we don't cross any other path or like complicated path. So hopefully we'll work as a team together to accomplish these initiatives. Thank you.
Mr. Martinez.
Yes.
Actually, you know what?
Thank-
Wait, Mr. Martinez, hold on a second, because, no, you didn't ask Ms. Serna a question, so we're, we're gonna skip. We're gonna go to Mr. Webb.
No problem.
Go ahead, Mr. Webb.
Hello, Mr. Ramadan. How are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, sir. Thank you again for coming back. My question is very simple. What motivated you to come back to run again, knowing that last month it was undecided? What was your motivation for coming back again this month?
Well, again, see, I'm a resident of Hampton here, and I do have the kids. I do invest in our future for the kids, because we do the schools, or the school basically are the priority or the core for our students. They take them from pre-K all the way to high school and then eventually to college. So this is a very unique situation, and I would like to be a part of it again. And this will help me contribute to the system.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Coletta you have your hand up, Mr. Coletta?
Yeah, I just want to thank Mr. Ramadan for coming back, like I said to Mrs. Serna and the new person. And I want to point out that based on Mr. Abbasi's comments, that I stand by all the questions that I asked previously and have no further questions.
Thanks.
Okay, so now I will ask my two questions. Mr. Ramadan, if you were appointed as a member of the Haledon Board of Education, what would be your priority topic? Explain why, and please name only one.
Well, our priority is definitely the children of our kids. Investing in their future is one of the priorities. Also being. Again, repeat the question one more time.
Sure. If you were appointed as a member of the Haledon Board of Education, what would be your priority topic? Explain why, and just name one. What would be your one priority topic?
The priority is to get our parents involved. We have involvement and contribution. So if the parents get involved with our students, as far as activities, summer programs, and also probably most likely meetings as well. So the parents.
Okay. And then I'll ask my second question. Please describe a situation in which you had to work as part of a team to overcome a challenge and bring about a successful outcome. What was the challenge? What did you and the others do? And what was the outcome?
Well, see, my role in the current position with Montclair State University, I work with the Education Opportunity Fund program as a program associate. I work with the first cohort of students. I also have interaction with a lot of the parents, the students, some teachers, and also actually some department heads to help promote programs to the students and to prep them towards academic success and development.
Okay. Okay. So that concludes your interview. We have one more interview. So if you don't mind stepping out, thank you.
And thank you again.
Yeah, Madam President, I don't have any questions either.
Okay. Okay, before you admit Miss the next candidate, I just wanted to mention to the board members, I just want to again say, so for this round, if you want to ask one of the questions from the original list, you can do so because we asked those questions to the first two candidates. But if you asked a new question, like Mr. Abassi, Mr. Motzko, and Mr. Webb, if you asked a new question to the two candidates, you have to ask that question to Ms. Spiridigliazzi as well, okay? So you can let her in.
Good question. If they need it.
Oh, okay. And Mrs. Augustin just emailed the questions for those of you, well, actually, yeah, we're all on. Okay. Okay. Hello? Are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Hi, could you, welcome, thank you for interviewing, showing your interest. Could you please pronounce your last name?
It is Spiridigliozzi.
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 Spiridigliozzi, got it, okay.
Yeah, you got it. I know it's a tongue twister.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm pronouncing it correctly. Okay, so thank you so much for showing your interest in the board position. We are going to ask you some questions. We will start with Mr. Abassi.
Okay.
So, Mr. Abassi, if you want to ask one from here, ask one,
I'll stick with the question I've asked
Okay,
both candidates
perfect.
today. So one, thank you for your interest in the position. And I did read the letter that you submitted, so you might be reiterating something that's in there, but let's just put it out there anyway. I just want to get a good firm understanding of your motivation for your interest in this position at this time. So in the last 15 months, this is the third out of cycle appointment for the Board of Ed, in this specific Board of Ed. And in the elections this last year, there was 5 spots available with only 4 candidates on the ballot. So with all the opportunities that have been available in the past 15 months, are you putting in for this position now? What has changed and motivated you to consider the position at this time?
Well, although I am from Haledon, I grew up in Haledon. I haven't been in Haledon in many years. I moved back in April of 2022. And during the last school year, I was an employee of HPS, so I really didn't have the opportunity to get involved in the Board of Education. But now that I am no longer an employee and a resident of Haledon, my motivation is to help our school. Since working in the school, I really fell in love with it. Plus, I have my own happy memories, and my son is in the school. So I just want to see the best for our children and do my part to make that happen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Motzko?
Yes, good evening and thank you.
You're welcome.
Jamie.
She's right there.
Right, okay, good.
Jamie, yes.
Yes, what do you believe are the major strengths of our district?
Well, first and foremost, our staff. HPS has a top-notch staff, and I was blessed to work with them. And each and every staff member that I did have the privilege to work with, or even just talk with, they truly care about our kids, and they go above and beyond every single day. It was an amazing experience to see, not only as a colleague, but as a parent. And Mr. Waka, he's a wonderful leader. He really does have our children's best interest in mind at all times.
Thank
So-
you. Same question.
Okay, let's go to, I'll start again from the top here. Let's go to Mr. Guzman. Do you have a question for Ms. Spiridigliozzi? Mr. Guzman, can you hear us?
He's still on mute.
I'm sorry, I can hear you. I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Mr. Let's see who's next. Mr. Martinez.
Hi, yes. What specific skills would you bring to the board?
Well, I began working in education in 2004. I've been a teacher's assistant, instructional paraprofessional, one-on-one aide, and ABA therapist. I have my BA in psychology. I also went to school for behavioral therapy. So I'm bringing all that experience as well as personal experience. I think I offer a very unique perspective, not only one as someone who personally went through the Haledon public school system, but also as a person who worked inside the school system, and another as a parent of a student who's currently going through the school system.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Coletta?
In the initial interview, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
In the initial interview, everybody was asked to just introduce themselves. I don't really have any specific question, but can you just, I read your email as well. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Everybody else was asked to do the same in the interviews last month. And that would be my only question.
Okay. Well, my name is Jeannie Spiritigliosi. Like I said, I grew up in Haledon, as did my parents. I graduated from both HPS and Manchester Regional High School. Post high school, I attended Caldwell College and earned a BA in psychology. Like I just said earlier, I also attended Florida Institute of Technology, where I took their registered behavioral therapy course. And over the years, though, I've worn many hats. I did begin working in education in 2004, but prior to that, I worked in the corporate world as an underwriting assistant at State Farm Insurance Company. And during my 6 years there, I was the treasurer for their Activities Association, a team leader and organizer of their intramural sports program. I've also been a business owner from 1999 to 2009. I was co-owner of a business called Y2K Graphics. We did typesetting and printing of promotional items and event calendars for many New Jersey-based cover bands and agencies. But my most important job has been being a mom to my 4 wonderful children. Like I said earlier, my youngest is entering the 7th grade at HPS, but my 3 older children are college age. 2 are currently working towards their master's degree, and 1 will be a sophomore in college. I do have very deep roots in this town. My family has been here, and extended family, since the 1950s. So when the opportunity arose to come back home and take over my family home, as my father relocated to Virginia, I jumped at it, and I moved back to Haledon, and it does feel really good to be back home.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Webb?
Hello, Miss
Hi.
S. I'm sorry for not pronouncing your name. But if you are elected, I will most certainly learn the correct way of saying your name. I just want to ask the question in regards to the time commitments and of the training that's required of being a board member. If you are elected, are you willing to go through the process of going through all the trainings?
Absolutely. I have no time constraints, and I am willing and able to put in all the time and training needed.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Webb, in the next, you'll need to ask your other question. I realize that Ms. Spirigliozzi didn't attend the first round of interviews, but you can ask her in terms of the motivation. You can ask her from that perspective, the question that you asked the other 2 candidates. But let's go back.
It just seemed like Obazi's question pretty much covered that.
Yeah, I wanted to ask all the candidates the same questions, and, you know, just to give them an opportunity to answer each specific question. So I'm going to go back to Mr. Motzko. Oh, no, actually, let me ask my question first, okay? And then we'll go back to you, Mr. Motzko. And then we'll go to Mr. Okay. So if you were appointed as a member of the Haledon Board of Education, what would be your priority topic? Explain why, and please name only one.
Special education by far. And basically because that's where I spent the bulk of my career in education, has been working with special education students, and a piece of my heart belongs to them, and I want to see the best for them at all times, inclusion for them at all times. And on a personal note, as a parent of a daughter who's now 25, who is a special needs student. I know what they're capable of, and I want to advocate for them.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Motzko, go ahead.
Yes, Jamie, it's Carlos Moxo again. If you get selected, elected, and with all the new expansions and new district development, how do you see yourself interacting with the board? With continuing this success of our district?
I see myself fitting in just fine. I've been in education, like I said, a long time, and I've worked through so many changes already. I mean, when I began in 2004, it's not the same as it is now in 2023. Kids are always the priority. I believe if you're a board member, your ego needs to be left at home and not brought to the board. I've always been a team player, which has contributed to my success in this career. And I believe the friendships that I have forged and kept through the years with colleagues really shows that I am a team player.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Webb?
Hello, Ms. S. My second question is, what is your underlying motivation to be elected into the Board of Education?
Well, my only motivation is to help the children of Haledon, our students. Like I said, I personally went through the school system. Haledon is near and dear to my heart. Working in the district just furthered my love for this town and the school. And now I'm a parent of a child who's going through the district, and I just really want the best. And now that I'm no longer an employee, I want to, do my part and make sure that everything on, you guys made a great strategic plan, and I just want to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I will ask my second question. Please describe a situation in which you had to work as part of a team to overcome a challenge and bring about a successful outcome. What was the challenge? What did you and the others do? And what was the outcome?
Well, I would say by far, the greatest challenge that I've ever had in my life was giving birth to my daughter, who was extremely premature and born at 1 pound 6 ounces. I was young, I was 25 years old, and suddenly faced with major medical decisions, her possibly dying, all kinds of stuff. And really had to come together with my family to do research, because back then when she was born in 1997, we didn't have information at the, in our hands. So we really had to work together as a team to make sure that we were educated on what was going on with her and working closely with doctors. My daughter obviously survived. She does have challenges. She's blind in one eye. So, then I had to begin working with the Commission for the Blind and another team effort. And she's a success story. She successful young lady who's already earned her bachelor's degree and is now working towards her master's degree. And I really couldn't have done it without my team, my family and friends.
Thank you. And that's a great outcome, the best.
It really is.
Okay, so I believe that's it. So thank you, Ms. S. I think what we're going to do now is go into executive session, and we will discuss the candidates, and then we'll come back and vote in public. So I need a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Motzko, seconded by Mr. Abbasi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi,
Yes.
Mr. Coletta,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman,
He says yes.
okay. Mr. Martinez? You say yes too?
Can we keep them unmuted?
There's somebody let me see if there's something in the chat. Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Webb
Yes.
and Mrs. Issa.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, so we will be, I would say, about 15-20 minutes. And well, no action will be taken because we're voting in public, correct?
The action will be taken in public. So,
Right.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, action will be taken once we're back.
Correct.
Okay, so we've made a decision. I want to thank the candidates who showed an interest in this open board seat. Thank you for stepping up and being willing to give up your time for the good of our district. I also want to point out that we have another vacancy because another board member has moved. So, or is in the process of moving. So we will be doing interviews again in August. So for the candidates who are not appointed tonight, please consider coming back in August to interview for the open board seat. Okay, so can I have a motion to appoint Mr. Ramadan to the board?
So move.
Yep, second, can I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Mosco, seconded by Mr. Abbasi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi,
Yes.
Mr. Coletta,
No.
Mr. Guzman. Mr. Guzman.
You know what? I think he fell off. I don't see
No,
him
he's
here.
there.
Maybe, can we come back to him? Oh, he's there. Can we come back to him?
Oh, we have to get it before.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Get. Mr. Martinez,
Yes.
Mr. Moxell,
Yes.
the Webb,
Yes.
Yes.
and Mr. Guzman.
I believe he responded in the chat.
Oh,
No,
Well, the motion does carry, the motion carries.
you said yes. Okay.
okay.
Okay, so congratulations, Mr. Ramadan. You were appointed to the board seat. Ms. Serna and Ms. Spiridigliozzi, please consider coming back in August. We appreciate very much your interest. We want to thank you for your time. Mr. Ramadan, you actually will, Mr. Merlino informed us that you will not be appointed, you will not be sworn in tonight. You have to get fingerprinted first. So I guess you can follow up with Miss Augustin about the fingerprinting. And then we'll see you at the August meeting. Okay. And you're welcome, you're both welcome to stay. You're all welcome to stay. Okay, let's get back to the agenda. Okay. Let's see. Let me scroll down. Okay, can I have a motion to accept correspondence?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Mosco, seconded by Mr. Abbasi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi,
Yes.
Mr. Coletta,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman. Mr. Martinez,
Yes.
Mr. Moxell,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
and Mrs. Issa.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so now for minutes, we have a few sets of minutes here. We have the regular meeting minutes. And then we have two sets, I want to say we have two sets of executive minutes. So let's do the regular minutes. let's vote on those and then let's vote on the separately on both of the executive minutes. Is that all right?
So moved.
Okay, so what, to move to approve the first set of regular minutes.
Second,
Okay, so moved by Mr. Martinez, seconded by Mr. Abbasi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi?
yes, I just want to note on page 5, in the section for hearing of the citizens, it was Angelica Stash, and it says, I think it says Jenica, got the name wrong, but yes.
Mr. Coletta?
Yes, can you hear me?
No, yeah. Mr. Guzman? Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Mato?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes,
And Mrs. Issa?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, now can I have a motion to pass the 2 executive minutes, 2
So
sets of exec-
Second,
moved by Mr. Motzko, seconded by Mr. Abbasi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi?
yes,
Mr. Coletta?
Yes to the first one. I abstained from last meeting because I wasn't able to be a part of it for the executive session.
it was in.
Mr. Coletta, you were in the first executive session. That was where we discussed the candidates.
That's what he said.
He said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought-
Yeah, yes
Okay.
to that one, but I wasn't able to get the connection for Mr. Waka's review.
The second one, right. Okay, got it.
Mr. Guzman, did I say? Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Mato?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
yes,
And Mrs. Issa?
Yes. Okay, can I have a motion to open the floor to the citizens, on agenda items only?
So move.
Second,
Moved by Mr. Motzko, seconded by Mr. Abbasi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi?
yes,
Mr. Coletta?
Yes,
Mr. Guzman? Mr. Martinez?
Yeah.
Mr. Mato?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
yes.
And Mrs. Issa?
Yes. Okay, the floor is open. If anyone would like to address the board on agenda items only. I see, David Torres has his hand up. Can you unmute him, Duncan?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Torres.
I want to know what exactly qualifies Ramadan more than Roxana for this seat. When she's such an active person in the town, she's a class mom 2 years in a row, 21-year-old that graduated from there, went there from kindergarten to 8th grade. She's part of the PTA. She's like, what happened here? Why make her go back if you were gonna pick him? You didn't know you were gonna pick him last month?
Mr.
He has
Torres,
he has 5 adult children, right? Am I correct or am I wrong?
we're not going to get into personal details about candidates' families.
But he
what we-
mentioned it last month. He mentioned it last month, so I'm asking a question about something that he mentioned. I'm just making sure if it's 4 or 5. Either way, he has adult children. Versus a person who has children in the school right now and cares about what's going on in school because she has kids there. And you're gonna pick somebody who has adults as children to be part of this board. You got to pick people who have kids in the school that really care about what's going on in the school.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Torres, for your comments.
This is crap.
Anybody else have any comment on agenda items only? Okay, motion to come out of, motion to close the floor,
So move.
So moved.
second,
moved by Mr. Martinez, seconded by Mr. Abbasi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi?
yes,
Mr. Coletta?
yes,
Mr. Guzman? Mr. Martinez? Mr. Martinez, are you there?
I'm sorry, yeah.
Mr. Maxwell?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
And Mrs. Issa?
Yes. Okay, just give me a moment because I accidentally closed the agenda here. Okay, moving on to reports. Okay, so, oh, so let me start with my report. There's usually a list here of the
Yeah.
reports. I don't see it there today, so. Okay, let me start with my report. So, just to reiterate, I want to thank all of the candidates. They were all qualified. We know that they all have a vested interest in school, in our students and the advancement of our district. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here and they wouldn't be interviewing. We acknowledge that and we appreciate that and we thank them all. And we hope that Ms. Serna and Ms. Spiritigliosi will return for interviews in August. We also, I want to congratulate Mr. Ramadan for being appointed onto our, for this, the open seat of our board. I look forward to working with you and our fellow board members to serve our students to the best of our ability and to advance Haledon Public School. I want to thank the staff who will be moving on for their service to Haledon Public School. We wish you the best in your future endeavors. I also want to thank Mr. Zlatonovic for his service to the Haledon Board of Education. His expertise, in particular in relation to environmental and sustainability issues, as well as legal perspective, was very valuable and helped our board have a better understanding and collectively make sound decisions. So we wish Mr. Zlatonovic the best. To the community, I hope that everyone continues to have a safe and happy summer. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Waka, our Chief School Administrator.
Thank you. I want to say the three candidates that ran for board, and you got to be brave to run for a board of ed member spot. You know, it's a thankless job. People come to you with problems far more than compliments. And all three candidates that ran, I think, are very brave, and I enjoyed, hearing what they have to say. But back to my report. I do want to start with some really great news that I'm extremely excited to share with this board. So we recently received the test score data from the most recent state assessments that our students took. That was last spring. At a future meeting, we're going to dive much more deeply into this data, but I do want to share with you the overall data regarding our students' test scores. All of us at HPS work extremely hard with our students under the belief, or with the belief, that by extrapolating and analyzing benchmark data, and more importantly, looking to see what the kids are showing us with this data, what they needed, us to focus our and redirect our teaching on, that we would see positive gains in student achievement. It appears our efforts that we made and that this board also helped make have been extremely worthwhile. Overall, test results for our entire student body improved a total of 12% from the previous year. That's a big deal. That's double digits. 12% overall improvement really is a big deal, and it made me so proud when I saw that number, because I saw all the amazing things that our staff have been doing, and our teachers and our coaches and our support staff have been doing in the classrooms. And it's wonderful to see that, this helped our kids. Our ELA scores rose an overall of 7%. And from the previous year, our math scores rose overall 5%. Again, in a few months, we'll present this data in a much more detailed review. But when I saw that news, I couldn't wait to share it, so I had to share it today. And within a month or so, parents of our HPS students can expect to receive via mail their individual child or children's test scores. We're also pleased to have learned that the HEA has ratified the collectively bargained contract that both sides have agreed to. That was towards the end of June. And that's also excellent news. At the next board meeting, our board will have the opportunity to formally vote to approve the collectively bargained agreement process. And then the whole process will be concluded. I think that both sides are very optimistic about the contract agreement that was made. And I think both sides conducted the entire CBA process in such a highly professional and positive manner. So personally, I want to thank Diane and Amanda. I also want to thank Aziza and Ms. Lamika and Mr. Merlino for working on our side. And, you know, it was a pleasure to get something, an agreement that I think both sides are proud of. The third item is tomorrow, we're going to start interviewing vice principal candidates. A total of 108 people applied for the vice principal position. So it's good to see that so many people want to be part of our leadership team. The leadership team, Ms. Hellowa kind of narrowed down the candidates to 12 candidates. They're going to receive a first interview starting tomorrow and the following day, Friday. And then they're going to narrow that down to round 2. And then once I get a final 3 candidates, then I'm going to look to meet those candidates and have a much more detailed and in-depth interview. But it's I want to thank the board for letting us have Kathleen, because screening 108, it's a big deal. And you know, Kathleen, she's going to read every letter of everything every candidate had. So I think the interview team that we have is a really strong team. So I want to thank them for doing for that job. And that's my report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Walker. Ms. Augustine?
Okay, thank you, Madam President. Okay, so my report consists of, number 1 is the board seat. I just wanted to make note of it, that we have a commissioner that sent in their letter of resignation. And this seat will be for the remainder of the school year, which is remainder of the calendar year, which is December 31st. We appoint someone next board meeting, which is on August 23rd. And I'm asking, once I send out the ad tomorrow, I'll put a date of August 18th. So if anyone is interested to submit a letter of interest to myself, and we'll present those to the board, and then we'll conduct another interview like we did today. Okay. So just so everyone knows that there's 3 positions that are available, will be available to run next year. So although we're appointing a candidate tonight and another candidate next board meeting, those individuals will have to run for the 3 open board seats for in November. So, and the date to make that submission in order to put in your application is the last week in July, which is this month, if you're interested in running. So
Isn't it the last Monday? So it would be this coming Mondays. I believe it's always
the 30 July
August
30th.
Oh, yeah,
July
okay,
31st, right?
yep,
Yeah.
Okay, great. So
July
that
31st,
gives
yeah.
a little bit more time.
Yeah,
for
so
anybody
it's
who wants.
so I thought it was the 24th too, and then I looked it
Yeah.
up, the statute, and it says the last Monday, which is July 31st. But I'll confirm that again, but I'm a little sure it's the 31st, okay? All right, and it has to be in by 4 p.m. on that day. So if anyone is interested with their petition. The other item that's wanted to just note that we were discussing, we had a bill that came across that was approved by the Murphy camp, that the expanded sick leave, the uses of it for all schools, it has expanded tremendously. So that is something that the board has to be aware of. And we just wanted to make note of that, especially when it comes to coverage and for the school district. So now employees have a list of items where they can use their sick days for. It's not just for sick.
It's the same number of sick days though, right?
Same number of 6 days, but you can expand how you use them.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
Is that listed somewhere in an agenda?
Those are just my board notes. It's not a resolution. It was already put into law.
Right by state.
Yeah.
We
it's a bill.
Email from
Yeah.
NJSBA about it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's bill A-5060/S3440 if anyone wants them.
Apparently it went through very swiftly.
Yeah, yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
So on the agenda, I just want to point out, besides the other items as contracts and other things that are being approved tonight, we have our E-rate funding commitment. Usually every year our budget for this as a revenue expense. So this year we're have a commitment of 93,194.72, and we use this mainly for in the areas of technology. So. And some updates on facilities. We are going through now our HVAC project, which is updating some of the classrooms that need HVACs. That project is on its way. There's a lot of demolition has happened. Our new buildings and ground person is taking over these projects and doing a tremendous job so far. And I just wanted to let you guys know that this is one of the projects that should be done by the end of the summer. And we also are installing a new split AC system in here. That's why we have that little opening right there, because of the dual temperature range that's in here. And we're waiting for the state to give us an answer on our expansion project. So we've submitted the application, the engineer has the architect, and we're just waiting for a response from them. And in the lower gym, there was one of the units that were out. We had a vendor come in and take a look at it, and it looks like we probably just need to change like it has a back compressor. We're going to try that out for a little while and then see what happens. And if not, we'll talk down the line if there's something that needs to be replaced. Okay. And that's all I have on my note for tonight. If there's any questions, I can try to answer.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Augustin? Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna start with now. I'm gonna have to go by memory of who the chairs are of these committees, but personnel and management, I believe, is Mr. Guzman. Is he still on? Still on. I think he may have dropped.
He had something.
Yeah, he was at an event. So, okay, so then, Mr. Abbasi, are you on personnel and management?
No, Mr. Martinez.
Mr. Martinez, okay, Mr. Martinez,
Agenda items only.
okay.
Curriculum.
Mr. Webb, curriculum and technology,
Agenda items only.
okay. Keep going down, policy, Mr. Martinez,
Agenda items only.
okay, security, Mr. Coletta. Is he still on or did he drop off too?
Agenda items only, sorry.
Okay. Finance, oh no, I'm sorry. Well, there's nothing, community engagement, Mr. Mosco?
Agenda items only.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Okay, and then finance and physical plant, Mr. Mosco.
We met, we spoke bills. BA spoke about the E that we are receiving. Congratulations to Mr. Ramadan. I'm another school board member that don't have little kids in school. Hopefully in 2 years, I have my grandkid here. So welcome, and everyone can run with small kids or adult kids. That concludes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's go back. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, let me do state and county. I do have one little update. There is a webinar taking place on July 20th, which is actually tomorrow. It's at 1 o'clock. And the topic is protecting student data from breaches and cyber attacks. So if anyone is interested, the email was sent out on July 10th. There's a registration button there that you can go to, and that's really it for that. Okay, so let's go back to personnel and management.
There's also word attorney's report.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Merlino, do you have anything?
No report tonight. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, so then let's go back, to personnel and management, and that was Mr. Martinez. Was that Mr. Martinez?
Yes, let's move the items that are listed. I'm sorry, I'm driving.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Agenda items.
So it's,
Okay, 11.1 to 11.13. Okay, so moved by
Thank you.
Mr. Martinez,
Second,
seconded by Mr. Motzko. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi,
yes.
Mr. Coletta,
Yes, and I think it's 11.1 through 11.21, not 0.13.
I hesitated. I thought maybe I was looking at the wrong for a second.
And you were the one that was talking about how he did his homework.
I've been going back and forth. That's why I knew all the community members. I wasn't sure I was on the right set.
Okay, hopefully that list will come back next for the next meeting. Okay, curriculum and technology, Mr. Webb.
I didn't think,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Coletta went yes.
yeah, Mr. Blumer.
Yes for me on the other one. For personnel.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez, Mr. Marco,
yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
and Mrs. Issa.
Yes. Now curriculum and technology, Mr. Webb.
I'd like to move 12.1 through 12.4.
Second,
Okay, so moved by Mr. Webb, seconded by Mr. Abbasi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi.
Yes.
Mr. Coletta,
Yes,
Mr. Martinez.
Yeah.
Mr. Moxell,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
and Mrs. Issa.
This is policy, that Mr. Martinez.
So,
Let's move the items that are on there.
13 point, well, actually, I think Mr. Coletta is also on policy. Mr. Coletta?
I'm on it too.
Oh, you are too?
Yeah,
Okay,
let's-
so,
Let's move 13.1.
okay, 13.1, moved by
Second.
Mr. Abbasi, seconded by Mr. Motzko. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi,
Yes, and I just wanna, if I could just add here, so this is, it's a new policy 2419. For a school threat assessment team. This is essentially, the New Jersey Department of Ed. Has not put in a regulation guideline yet, so this is kind of a temporary one, and then when the official guideline comes out, we'll kind of reaffirm this one. Okay, but yes,
Mr. Coletta,
yes,
Mr. Martinez.
Yeah.
Mr. Moxell,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
and Mrs. Issa.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, security and safety, Mr. Coletta.
make a motion to move items 14.1 and 14.2.
Second,
Moved by Mr. Coletta, seconded by Mr. Motzko. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi,
yes,
Mr. Coletta,
Yes,
Mr. Martinez. Mr. Martinez.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Moxell,
yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mrs. Issa.
I just had one question about 14.2, the student safety data system report. Any insight onto how that compares with the previous year?
We had about 24 the last time we did it, so it looks like the numbers were kind of where, you know, they should be toward the end. But to be perfectly candid, this was something that a former VP had handled, so and he would usually kind of review and give us an update for this, so I can't speak to the data quite as well as I normally do.
Yes. Okay, finance and physical plant, Mr. Musko.
Move item 15.1 through 15.24.
Now, second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Abbasi. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Mr. Coletta,
yes,
Mr. Martinez,
Yes,
Mr. Moxell.
Yeah.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mrs. Whitfield.
Yes. Okay. So, new and old business. Anybody? I actually
No,
have, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank all the candidates that took the time to, to interview. And congratulations to Mr. Ramadan. I just really encourage the ones that ran this time to run again next month, please.
Okay, thank you. Anybody? Any other members of new or old? So I have two things, actually. I have a question. Mr. Merlino, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I have a question. I want to conduct the interviews in August the way we did this one. I want candidates will be asked the same questions. But now, so now if, let's say we get another, a new candidate. So two of the candidates have been asked some of these questions already. So do we need to start with like a whole brand new set of questions, or how does that work?
I think we could ask if these candidates come back, and we hope they do, that we can ask them to kind of refresh and ask them the same questions again.
Okay.
But we'll be consistent and keep asking the same questions to everybody, but to the ones that do come back, even though they've heard it already, we can ask them the same questions.
Okay, all right. So just to the board members, you can, for the next set of interviews in August, you can ask questions from that list, that original list that we got. Or if you want to submit, if you want to ask your own question, please send it to Lois so that she can add it to the list and we can have that list. Okay, please do that before the meeting. And then, yeah, so that was one thing. The other thing is, so you should have all gotten a copy of the retreat summary that we had on June 3rd. And we came up with some goals for our board, and those are separate from the district goals. We had two goals for our board. Number one was to increase commissioner attendance at board and committee meetings. And the second one was to increase professional development for the board as a unit. So, this doesn't have to be as formal as, the strategic plan that we do for the district goals, but, we should have an action plan so that we can measure and assess, how we did on these two goals that we set for ourselves. So I have a couple of suggestions, but I am, open, and I hope that you have some ideas and thoughts too. So for the first one, increase commissioner attendance at board and committee meetings. I suggest, so in a given school year, there are approximately 18 to 20 school board meetings. So I suggest that we set a goal for ourselves that every board member will attend at least 80% of all meetings. So that's, 14 out of 18 meetings, 16 out of 20 meetings. From September to June. This is these goals are for the school year 23-24. So September through June.
Madam President, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Zoom also included?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Virtual attendance is absolutely included. I mean, that is a reality of today, and we're lucky that we have that option. And I know, we all work. We're busy people. We do a lot, and this is volunteer. So if you can, if you can't make it in person and you can log on in it virtually, that's absolutely considered, you're present, you're present. So definitely. And so, okay, so that's that one. And then for committee meetings, so committee meetings are much less frequent. The only one that I think meets every single time, or at least once a month, is the finance and physical plan. The others, I would say, maybe meet 4 or 5 times. I mean, I think at the most 6 times a year. So I suggest that we set a goal for ourselves that board members will attend their respective committee meetings 90% of the time. So that would be like, out of 4 or 5 meetings, or, you only miss 1, maybe 2 meetings. So, that's what
With the second one, I'm happy to be super flexible with when we do the committee meeting. So if the committee wants to meet at any, it doesn't have to be before the board meeting. It could be a Tuesday at 12 o'clock, whatever you guys want.
Yeah, I think that's a challenge with, at least for me, that's a challenge for the committee meetings, because I have to leave work early as it is to get here for 7.
Feel you.
So, yeah, so if we could like be, and I, you had also like suggested maybe like doing virtual as well for the committee meetings. So, we can talk about that.
Yeah, whatever the committees want.
Okay, that would be great. And then for the second goal of increasing professional development as a unit, meaning like, we do it together. I suggest, I would suggest that a majority of the board members will attend the annual workshop in October, or choose another professional development training or opportunity that we attend together, that we all choose together. So if it can't be the annual one, just kind of makes sense because a lot of, board members go to that already. So that one seems to make sense. But, if not, then we can choose another, worthwhile training or, opportunity to attend for professional development together as a board. And then the second part of that is that all board members, and this is really my goal. My personal goal is to get all the board members to attend the next annual retreat. I think it was so worthwhile. It was really a good experience, and it's helpful. It really helps, kind of get to know each other, bond a little bit as a group, as a team. And then really start thinking strategically about how we can advance our district. So that's, I think would be a great way to, achieve that goal. So any thoughts, any other suggestions?
Quickly in that.
Yep.
In Kathleen's report out, I think she mentioned it was recommended to have the board goals approved as like an agenda item in an official meeting.
Okay,
So that's probably something we want to do.
for August.
Yeah, that's a resolution, all our goals when the retreat.
Too bold.
Okay. Thank you for reminding me of that. But in the meantime, we can, in the meantime, we can, we can still discuss it. So if anybody has any other thoughts or other suggestions, other ideas in terms of an action plan for these goals that we already chose.
So officially we can.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay, so yeah, so you know what, think about it, and we can, after we pass it, the next board meeting, we could talk more about it, okay? All right, so.
Yeah, the thing I'd say is, like, last year I went to the conference. I wanted to go this year, but it conflicts with travel I have to do for work. So doing it, at a conference that's, spread over several days is probably a little bit more difficult. It's all there. So maybe, once it's approved as a resolution, we could think of ways to do it, local over a couple hours or something.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say that the county meetings are a great opportunity. They're always nearby and they always have a good presentation, like almost always. And you get dinner with it. So that's a nice one, but like it would be good to choose one to like attend that we all go together. I think that's that's important. Oh, and I do want to point out that this, of course, is in addition to any required training that board members have to do. So that is separate. You have to do that. That's mandated. But this would be like something that we choose to do, together. Okay. All right, so let me go back. Let's see. Okay, so can I have a motion to open the floor to citizens, the hearing of citizens?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Mosco, seconded by Mr. Martinez. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi?
Yes.
Mr. Coletta?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mrs. Zissa.
Yes. Okay, the floor is open. Anybody, we can start with any folks who are here in the public. Go ahead, Ms. Serna.
But a lot of parents and teachers would probably be upset about the decision making that you just did, only because I've been here and I show that I am invested. But I do want to congratulate you. It's no hard feelings or anything like that. But as a board, it shows.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Is there anything in the, I don't see anything in the chat. Okay, can I have a motion to close the floor?
So, second.
Moved by Mr. Martinez, seconded by Mr. Motzko. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi,
Yes.
Mr. Coletta,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mrs. Zissa.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you so much. We will see you, and that's it, right?
We're doing adjournment.
Oh. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, seconded by moved by Mr. Martinez, seconded, I think that was Mr. Coletta. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi,
Yes.
Mr. Coletta. Mr. Coletta, he signed off.
Yes.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb, and Mrs.
Yes.
Mrs. Zissa. I was looking
Yes.
for that.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We will see you back in August.
Thank you.
Stay safe.